For the 108th time on the football gridiron at South Carolina, the garnet and black, the Gamecocks against the purple and orange, the Clemson Tigers. 7-3 start for Clemson. Opening drive touchdown for the Tigers. Opening drive field goal for South Carolina. Tigers didn't waste much time getting on the scoreboard. First possession.
And that's Kyle Parker to DeAndre. Hopkins, a double move, taking advantage of a very aggressive South Carolina defense.
South Carolina comes back with a field goal of their own, get points on the board. But again, I can't tell if the 85,000 people here are all standing up or just a ton of them are standing up, but I've never seen that at a football game. In the first quarter, guys standing up already.
Rivalry recap brought to you by Dr. Pepper. The third longest uninterrupted series in college football history. 102 straight years these teams have gone at it. They used to play in Columbia State Fair Week. They called it Big Thursday. But 50 years ago, they began the home and home between Clemson and Columbia, South Carolina. So 50 years ago, for the first time, South Carolina came to Clemson to play here at Memorial Stadium, Frank Howard Field.
Clemson has owned it here at home, 16-8-1. And one question we had tonight, could Andre Ellington, the leading touchdown maker for Clemson, play? Well, he hasn't played yet. It's been all Jamie Harper in the backfield for the Tigers.
And if he hasn't played yet, odds are he will not play, because when you get something shot up, you try to warm up. If you stand around on the sidelines, you'll never play.
Kyle Parker turns, gives to Harper again on 2nd and 9. Stop made by Holman. Let's take a look at the impact players brought to you by Liberty Mutual when the Tigers have the ball.
And we look at Jamie Harper. He's a big back, 230 pounds, but very versatile, the third leading receiver for the Tigers.
On the other side of the ball, Devin Taylor, I think we've talked about the fact that he has 7.5 sacks, but also has 8 passes broken up. Long arm guy, and then Stephon Gilmore. Again, I think the best football player, pure football player, leading tackler, best cover guy, forced fumbles, recovered fumbles, does it all.
Third down for Clemson. Parker's pass incomplete. He took a hit at the end, but no flag.
If that ball, does that ball get tipped or just come off his hand wrong? Not much of a chance. He might have got concerned about the coverage just as he was releasing the football.
Well, one thing's very apparent about Ellis Johnson, defensive coach at South Carolina. They are very versatile. 3-man fronts, 4-man fronts. They'll stunt, they'll blitz, they'll slant. They're throwing the entire defensive playbook right now at Kyle Parker.
Dawson Zimmerman, 45-yard punt the first time, but he got blown up. So we'll see if Dawson gets the punt off and manages to avoid the big hit. High snap, Zimmerman corrals it near the 10. Ball still loose. South Carolina picks it up. It'll be Gamecock ball at the 5.
One of the things that Coach Spurrier said is we need more big plays on special teams. He hadn't felt that they've gotten a lot of that. There's the answer tonight.
Brian Maddox recovers the fumble. Bad snap from Matt Skinner.
And how many times in these rivalry games do you see special teams plays the difference? Circle this play. I know we're just in the first quarter, but those can be demoralizing to a team.
Clemson has had huge special teams mistakes in the kicking game, but mostly those were field goal misses. This is a high snap. Looked like South Carolina went after the long snapper Matt Skinner in the middle, and it worked. It was a Clemson mistake that allowed the first points from South Carolina. The Gamecocks were stopped. A penalty allowed them to continue a drive, kick a field goal. Now a special teams mistake makes it 1st and goal. Garcia's pass is caught. Touchdown, Gamecocks. Patrick DiMarco, the tight end, makes the grab.
And South Carolina takes advantage of a Clemson defense that looked discombobulated from the start. Guys pointing fingers. Don't know if that call got in late, but guys disorganized defensively. DiMarco gets out on that edge, and Garcia delivers in the flat.
Just the 2nd touchdown grab of the year by Patrick DiMarco, the senior tight end for the Gamecocks. PAT is no good. Looked like Brandon Thompson got a hand on it.
We got all kinds of things happening. This is a rivalry game, guys.
Those of you who've been watching on ESPN Classic, please join us on ESPN2. for the battle in the Palmetto State.
This is the Dr. Pepper Rivalry Series, unrivaled competition.
Welcome back to the Dr. Pepper Rivalry Series in the Palmetto State. The Clemson Tigers and the South Carolina Gamecocks. The rivalry started in 1896. In this one, a special teams mistake leads to the South Carolina touchdown. So back on the same page between the long snapper Matt Skinner and the punter Dawson Zimmerman. Jay Wooten's kickoff fielded by Gilchrist in the end zone. He brings it out. Marcus Gilchrist gets back to the 20. It'll be Tiger football trailing 9-7 after the first South Carolina touchdown when we come back.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Taco Bell, think outside the bun, and John Hancock, the future is yours.
Last home football game, senior day, not only for the players, but also for the equipment personnel. So Jeff Davis, Travis McClan, Cam Aiken, DJ Wilhoit, DJ Gordon, Thomas Beckenhauer. They get to run down the field, touch the rock, and come down to Frank Howard Field with the senior football players as well. Clemson football, Parker to throw on first down, complete to Hopkins, who dives for another Tiger first down. Let's go back to the South Carolina touchdown.
On that touchdown, it's interesting because Clemson was keying Patrick DiMarco, number 47, for the key as to whether it's one-back or two-back run. They didn't expect him to be a receiver.
And you can see Marcus Gilchrist playing his 52nd consecutive game at Clemson, trying to tell his guys that, but he took his eyes off for just a moment and gave DiMarco that edge out in the flat. South Carolina converts the touchdown.
Off to Harper on first down for a +4. First time Clemson got the football, it was a quick strike touchdown. 73-yard drive, but 45 of those with DeAndre Hopkins on the touchdown run. South Carolina's first points on a 46-yard field goal from Spencer Lanning. And then the touchdown coming after the special teams mistake from Clemson. Missed PAT for South Carolina. A 9-7 score for the Gamecocks out of the SEC against the Clemson Tigers from the ACC. Parker pumps and throws. It's Hopkins again, who makes the grab in front of Gilmore.
Ran a double move comeback, and again, great protection, maximum protection for the quarterback. Watch this route. Goes up, out, fakes the up move, and then comes back, stops, and reads it. Nice job, nice confidence, the quarterback, to put it out there for a freshman receiver.
And that route takes time up front. Credit those big guys for the protection.
13-yard pickup for DeAndre Hopkins, who already has 99 receiving yards in the game. That's the way to debut against the Gamecocks.
You might have noticed Philip Price, that big running back in the backfield. They put him in motion that time. He's their sixth O-lineman for their big package. He plays like a tight end position. Came in motion that time across the field.
Isn't that smart, Mike? When you're playing a team that slants and is giving you all these looks, go ahead and pile it in there. Bring the 300-pound backup lineman as your tight end, your 230-pound back. I like that option to take advantage of all that movement from South Carolina.
Andre Ellington is suited up but hasn't seen the field yet. Missed the last 3 games with turf toe. Was hoping to go in the final home game of the year. Parker on second down, trying to set up the screen. It's batted down. Cliff Matthews gets his big paws on it.
That was a really good play by Josh Dickerson, their inside linebacker. We watched film yesterday. He was a guy that really popped out on that film as a smart player. He sniffed out that screen. Parker had nowhere to go.
Very explosive athlete. They're trying to get the ball to Jamie Harper in space. He's really good. He's not a home run guy, but he can make moves. He has worked very hard. Averaged 140 yards on the ground the last 2 football games. Ben Clemson's running attack. Clemson
-6 rushing yards, but 100 yards in the passing game. Tigers are 0 for 2 on third down so far. Flag.
Dwayne Allen, I think, wanted to get a little jump on the snap there and get down the field. He moved early. The guys that looked the longest at the sideline after the play, you know, probably did something wrong.
False start. Number 83 on the offense. 5 yards from the previous spot. 3rd down.
Chance to tell you our officiating crew wanted to pass along their well wishes to Mickey Haddock. 27 years of college officiating, 15 for the SEC. Well liked, well respected. Be missed by all. That message from our officiating crew tonight. After the penalty, 3rd and 13 for the Tigers. Pressure coming. Clemson picks it up. Parker. Hopkins running underneath it. Couldn't haul it in.
I'll tell you what, that was a great job of protection again. South Carolina has 36 sacks on the season, one of the leaders in the nation. And Clemson's doing a great job right now of picking up the various blitzes and also handling the defensive line.
See the inside dog. This is a blitz that South Carolina likes, especially in their nickel situations. Parker did such a great job on that early touchdown of putting air on that ball. But when you move in the pocket, it takes a little bit extra time. You don't have that chance to put the same kind of loft. You got to be more precise. He just misses McDaniel. Just misses Hopkins.
Well, the punt away this time from Dawson Zimmerman. Fair catch called for. Ace Sanders hauls it in. 9-7 Gamecock lead. South Carolina football when we come back. There's banging the drum slowly, and then there's banging the drum constantly.
For a long, long time.
Long time. This is part of the tradition before the South Carolina game week. Army ROTC bangs on the drums 7 p.m. when the seniors are announced. Touching the rock and running down the hill onto Frank Howard Field. They stop banging the drums. Those are some beat-down drums and some beat-down drummers by the end. I was down there visiting with them before the game. They were ready to take a break from pounding on the thing. In fact, great Army ROTC tradition here at Clemson, military background.
Do they rotate every couple hours?
They do. They do. And I asked the guy, how's the rotation work? He said, well, assuming everyone shows up on time, we rotate about every half hour. He said it as if maybe there weren't some members on time. 2nd and 8 for South Carolina here. Stephen Garcia, the junior quarterback from Florida, hangs this one up for Jeffery. Alshon Jeffery makes the grab.
And again, we talked about range, but he also has the ability to adjust the route in the air to the flight of the ball, and great receivers can do that, and they also have the speed to get there.
And what balance South Carolina has, a 1,000-yard rusher and passer, and watch Lattimore, your 1,000-yard rusher. You love to see that out of a true freshman, just clearing that vision for Garcia to put the air on the ball. And yeah, Jeffery has a special talent of running down, just the body control for a big man to run down those deep passes.
That ball thrown over your outside shoulder is one of the toughest things when you're looking back to the inside, and he does it naturally, just so fluidly.
Over 1,200 receiving yards before this game. 70 receptions, both single-season school records at South Carolina. But Clemson defensive coordinator Kevin Steele among those pointing out how much Marcus Lattimore has helped Alshon Jeffery and Stephen Garcia.
Well, there's no question. When you have a strong running attack, it takes the pressure off the quarterback. Also, the receiver knows he's not going to get it double covered every time because they can't take the guy out of the box because of the threat of the run.
Balance. It's what every offense strives for. It's what Clemson needed tonight. They can't run the ball. And when you play a good defensive opponent, when you're two-dimensional, you give yourself a chance to get them on their heels.
Leg lock winding down here. South Carolina lined up at 5 seconds, 4 seconds to snap it. They get it off. Lattimore dragged down from behind by Andre Branch.
I've been impressed with the way the Clemson team has tackled Marcus Lattimore. One of the things they talked about was he gets such traction on contact, which I thought was a great thing. It reminded me of a big cat, you know, that type of, like a road mover, road graver. Just take it over and move the thing down the field.
Yeah, it helps to be 315, 310, 275 as you see Daquan there. Big physical front four for Clemson.
Tigers get a 45-yard touchdown strike to take a 7-0 lead, but South Carolina 9 straight at the end of the first quarter of meeting 108 between the Gamecocks and Tigers. Carolina by 2. The 102nd consecutive year that the Gamecocks and Tigers have met on the field. First Tiger possession, 45-yard touchdown to DeAndre Hopkins after a bad snap. A fumble punt by Clemson. One play. South Carolina touchdown. Garcia to DiMarco. South Carolina football here. Start of the third quarter. Garcia looking to the end zone for Jeffery, who's got it. Touchdown, Gamecocks. Alshon Jeffery makes the grab.
I tell you what, caught Clemson in a blitz. No safety help. Again, even though safety was in the middle of the field, he's looking outside. One-on-one, you got to cover number one. You can't let him run down the field.
He's like a rebounder in basketball. He knows how to use that frame to his advantage.
76 yards on this drive for Alshon Jeffery.
Well, a perfect throw, sprinting to your right wing, back across the field. How tough is that, Rob?
That's arm strength. You want to test and gauge the tone of someone's arm. Run them to the right. Have them throw it all the way across the college football field. When you got Jeffery to throw it to, though, makes your job a little bit easier.
Clemson opened up with a 45-yard touchdown strike to take a 7-0 lead on the Gamecocks. Carolina has answered with 16 straight, including the 37-yard TD pass from Stephen Garcia to Alshon Jeffery. Gilchrist takes it inside the 10. Gilchrist has room to run. Shoved out by the kicker, Jay Wooten. Take another look at the touchdown, but first, a flag down.
It's exactly what Clemson needed to respond, to get this crowd back in the game. The momentum had swung so strongly for South Carolina. Gilchrist, the senior, delivers.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 26 of the kicking team. That penalty was 15 yards added to the end of the return. First down.
One of the things that happens in a rivalry game, we said this earlier, is kids tend to play beyond the whistle. And again, away from the football sometimes. That didn't look that bad, though. If 25 got flagged right there, I'm not sure that's a good call.
I believe it was Antonio Allen who gets flagged there. We've had 2 personal fouls, 1 on each side. That's the first penalty against South Carolina. Tiger football, tossed to Jamie Harper on the edge. Harper manages to fall forward and maybe get a yard. Allen makes a stop.
And that's going to be tough trading against this South Carolina group. You talk to Ellis Johnson. They run a 4-2 defense. They take a safety called a spur linebacker because he wants speed on the field.
Well, Jamie Harper made 3 moves to make people miss in the backfield just to get 2-yard gain. Or 1.5.
Play fake on second down. Parker has a man. Looks for Hopkins. Pass is incomplete, bringing up third down. Tomorrow night, the BCS Countdown presented by Vizio on ESPN at 8:15 Eastern. How far will Boise fall? How far will TCU be away from that number 2 spot, that elusive number 2 spot? Our BCS standings brought to you by Tostitos.
Well, look at this. Everyone's worried about the BCS and what's going to happen in the mayhem. Well, it tends to shake itself out. Oregon, Auburn survive. TCU demolishes New Mexico. Picture's becoming a little bit more clear.
And Wisconsin puts 70 on the board again.
Heavy pressure up the middle, picked up by the Tigers. Parker swings it to the outside. Pass is incomplete.
And that's 2 straight passes where the receivers are trying to look ahead to where they're going to run to before they catch the football. You can understand that with DeAndre Hopkins, a freshman. You just can't have that. You got to support your quarterback better.
And those are the plays that Kyle Parker must have his Clemson receivers make.
That's Brandon Ford, the sophomore. Pass incomplete. Swearinger on the coverage.
And that was Swearinger beat earlier in the game for the touchdown. You see the velocity, the speed at which South Carolina plays defense. They jumped out at us on film, and they're playing well here in the first half after that drive.
Zimmerman's punt will bounce.
I'll tell you what, if Clemson doesn't win, they're going to look back and say they passed up a scoring opportunity right there.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Cadillac, the new standard of the world, and Castrol GTX with superior protection against harmful deposit buildup.
I'm standing in front of Fort Hill, the former home of the 7th Vice President of the United States, John C. Calhoun. Years after his death, his heirs bequeathed more than 800 acres of the Fort Hill estate to the state of South Carolina to be used as a land-grant college, which is now known as Clemson University. Welcome to my university.
John C. Calhoun from Abbeville, South Carolina. That's near the Savannah River in the upcountry part of the state, as it's known. In fact, this town used to be known as Calhoun, South Carolina. They changed the name to Clemson, South Carolina. That's how much John C. Calhoun means to the folks around here. South Carolina football, Garcia tucks it on first down and dives for about 4 yards.
Couldn't tell if he just took off or that was a design quarterback draw, but he did a nice job. I'll tell you what, gain of 6 or 5, I guess, how much, 4 or 5 on the play?
He's sneaky, isn't he?
He is.
We saw the arm strength down the field. This is what he does well. He doesn't look the part. You see him down on the field, and athletically, he doesn't wow you. But he gets some hidden yards with some of his athleticism in the run game.
And it slows down the pass rush when the quarterback will take off on his own.
On 2nd and 6, Garcia out of the shotgun to dragging receiver caught by Cunningham. Well, on the Clemson defense, there is a linebacker wearing 44. That is Brandon May. Usually wears 20. 44 was the number of Scotty Cooper, a player who had a career-ending injury prior to this season. So on what would have been his senior day, Brandon May, a junior, switching from 20 to 44 to honor Scotty Cooper. And Cooper didn't know about it until May came out on the field with his 44.
And right now, May is leading the Clemson team in tackles with 4. Five now. Playing a great football game.
Marcus Lattimore gets it on first down. DeAndre McDaniel, the strong safety, up to make the stop.
Have we called Daquan Bauer's name yet? And that's a little bit of a surprise through about a quarter and a half. Remember, Daquan leading the country in sacks with 15 and a half, and it's not just been one game. He's been very active all season. Leads in QB pressures as well. 2nd in America for tackles for loss.
Look at the total tackles. 63 tackles
from
coming in.
He's the 2nd leading tackler on his football team. That's almost unheard of for a defensive end.
A junior from Bamberg, South Carolina. On 2nd down, Garcia pressured out of the pocket by Bowers. Pass intended for Lattimore. He did make the catch, but a couple yards short of the first down.
I would say that they're taking special attention to him, but really right now he's just being blocked one-on-one. And again, he made the mobility of the quarterback changes your pass rush sometimes. You don't take quite an aggressive approach when you know that guy may tuck it and run on his own.
You'd like to see a little better get off. You saw the 3 other Clemson defensive linemen off the ball ahead of Daquan. He's got to use the noise of this place to his advantage and get off the ball.
3rd and 2. Lattimore picks for a first down across the 45. Meeks finally makes the stop. Well, the freshman from Duncan, South Carolina, Marcus Lattimore, has another Gamecock first down.
And I had a chance before the game to talk to Jay Graham, the running back coach for South Carolina, one-time NFL player. And I said, what makes Marcus special? And besides the physical attributes, he said it's amazing, Mike, the student of the game. He thirsts to be a smarter football player. That's unique in a true freshman.
It is, and when you can combine knowledge of the game with the physical skills he has, that means for a great future.
Cocky's happy to see him in the garnet and black. Flag down.
Somebody moved, delay a game, where they called a timeout.
Maybe
Not sure which
we'll see.
He did call it. He tried to call a timeout from the sideline.
Timeout. South Carolina before the flag.
Hubert Owens says timeout. Spurrier's Gamecocks. 16 straight. Our Castrol GTX protection spotlight shows us how Daquan Bauer has been held in check.
The bigger the game, you need your superstars to be at their very best. And tonight, Daquan Bauer's getting very little movement. We've seen a couple plays where Lattimore chip, but a bunch of these last 4 here, these are all single up, but not only not getting the tackles and tackles for loss and sacks, just not making his impact on the pocket.
Gamecocks have scored the last 16 points of the football game after an opening touchdown for the Tigers. Garcia looking for Jeffery again, who makes the grab inside the 20. Alshon Jeffery is tearing up the Clemson secondary.
Doing a nice job of moving Alshon Jeffery around tonight, aren't they, Coach? We've seen him outside in a one-on-one. You see him cross the field and now up the seam.
And it's really scary to get him inside on the safeties. You see the double move right there, goes right by. He requires so much attention, but you got to play him over and under. You can't bracket him. He's too good, too much range.
You know what I love about a big guy like that? He understands if he slows down too much, breaks down, he's not going to get started again. Just enough hesitation to freeze the safety, and what a target down the field for the quarterback.
Already 126 receiving yards for Jeffery, better than his 110-yard average, which is 5th in the nation. Gives to Lattimore on the draw, the freshman to near the 10.
You know, there's 3 things that affect pass rush too. 1, run of the draw play, 2, the screen, and 3, the zone read. So all 3 of those things stop defensive ends from really coming up the field hard or committing too soon.
What do you do defensively? It is such a challenge, and why, frankly, South Carolina is going to be playing for the SEC championship next weekend in Atlanta. Their balance offensively, keeping a defense on their heels, your ability to run it and throw it makes Kevin Steele's job so difficult calling the game defensively.
This will be 2nd down from just outside the 10. Out of the eye. Lattimore picks up a couple, bringing up 3rd down. Rennie Moore on the stop for Clemson.
One thing that makes Jeffery stand out to me is you find, even on this roster of South Carolina, you've got other receivers that are 6'4" and 6'5", but understanding how to use that frame, your leverage, your speed, your body control. Look at the NFL game today. Look at Andre Johnson. Look at Larry Fitzgerald. They're not 4'4" guys, but they know how to separate, use their length, use that athleticism to win when the ball's in the air.
And Garcia has the confidence to throw that ball up there, knowing he'll go get it. So it's really throwing the ball with no fear.
Gamecocks will use another timeout prior to 3rd down. It could be going right back to Alshon Jeffery in the end zone. Speaking of NFL and playmakers, 49ers and Cardinals featuring Larry Fitzgerald. That is coming up Monday night, 8:30 Eastern. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Somehow, both teams still in the playoff hunt in the NFC West.
The NFC West, a lot like the Big East, where UConn, by the way, a game away from getting to the BCS championship. But Larry Fitzgerald hurt by quarterback play this year. And you see something very different developing in Columbia, and that is the connection and the confidence between these two. When you look at Garcia, there's no hesitation. When he throws that ball all the way across the field, he trusts that his big guy is going to go make a play for him.
You're right. Chris Miller, my neighbor in Eugene, Oregon, is the quarterbacks coach for the Arizona Cardinals, and they've struggled this year from the quarterback situation. He's working hard to make sure. It's tough when you lose an all-star quarterback, maybe a Hall of Fame, all-pro quarterback like they have.
Out of the 2nd South Carolina timeout. This is 3rd down and 5. Not 3rd and goal, but 3rd and 5. The yellow superimposed line.
And there's your one-on-one matchup. Let's see if they get help over the top.
Garcia looks that way to Jeffery. Locked up on the outside. Heaves it there anyway. It's incomplete. And correction, the intended receiver was Barnes. So it's Barnes at 6'4", the exact same size as Alshon Jeffery, who is also 6'4".
And the long socks, I'm telling you, they all look the same part down on the field. Incredibly athletic guys. Steve Spurrier obviously likes length at that receiver position.
If this ends up being a field goal, this is a big stop for Clemson because they can stop some of the bleeding here. Again, a touchdown would have been devastating.
25-yard attempt here for Spencer Lanning, who did miss a PAT. Unanswered now for South Carolina. It was a 7-0 start for the Clemson Tigers. A 45-yard touchdown on the first drive for Clemson. Since then, Steve Spurrier's Gamecocks have rattled off 19 unanswered. Palmetto pride is on the line here in Clemson, South Carolina. Carter Blackburn with Oregon's winningest football coach Mike Bellotti, former All-Pac-10 quarterback at Washington, Brock Heward. And Brock, you asked Dabo Swinney, Clemson's head coach, how do you sum up this game in one word? And it was
passion. And we've seen that tonight, a couple unsportsmanlike penalties. But Dabo also knew he had to have some balance offensively, and they don't have any. They can't run it. And right now, South Carolina controlling the game defensively.
Yeah, and Clemson got the first big score and got everybody excited, but the thing is sort of gone. The air's gone out of that balloon right now. They got to come back now. They had a chance on a big kickoff return and a penalty, and they got nothing out of it. I think that's going to come back to haunt them.
The first 9 points on the board for South Carolina came directly off of mistakes by Clemson. There was a personal foul penalty that allowed South Carolina to keep a drive alive. They got a field goal out of that. Then there was the special teams mistake on a punt that gave South Carolina the football at the 5, a touchdown. Gamecocks missed that extra point, but it was those mistakes by Clemson that killed some of the momentum the Tigers had at kickoff and after the touchdown by Hopkins.
And when you have a battering ram like Marcus Lattimore, over 1,000 yards, and South Carolina starting to own the time of possession, Clemson's defense been on the field a ton. The offense better sustain a drive here.
Gilchrist solid return last time he touched it. Takes this one at the 11. Marcus Gilchrist tries to cut it back across the 25-yard line. Allen makes the stop.
So outside of that first drive, Mike, with the big plays, the screen and the double move touchdown, you've been stagnant offensively. Is this maybe a time to go a little bit up tempo? What are you doing here and telling your group in the huddle?
I think, one, you got to throw on first down. They've been trying to run the football and have not been very successful. And this is a tough team, South Carolina, to run against. So you probably got to throw on first down with either quick passes or some type of play action.
A touchdown drive the first time for Clemson. Since then, all punts, including one bungled punt that turned into a South Carolina touchdown. Parker gives to Jamie Harper. The junior from Jacksonville has taken over the primary running back duties. It was he and Andre Ellington, the explosive sophomore, who had alternated until Ellington had the turf toe injury. That sounds like an odd injury. It can be a very painful injury and really a handicapping injury for a running back.
Very debilitating for a running back because they can't change direction. You can't stop and start. You don't realize how much that great toe is so important in your movement skills until you have it injured.
Clemson was hoping to get Ellington on the field today. Run blitz coming on second down. Harper runs right past it, near another first down.
Great patience by Harper to let the blocking clear. They brought the blitz, run blitz, but again, he was patient, let his linemen work to move some people, and he's got great feet in space. He's not a burner. He doesn't have the home run ability, but he can make yards.
We see Philip Price come back into the game. Watch the big fella. They saw him in motion last time. Wouldn't be surprised if you run at him, and here he comes again. 300-pound backup lineman.
On 3rd and 1, Harper picks up the first down. And slow getting up, Jamie Harper, the last thing that Clemson wants to see.
No, they can ill afford that. He can't be hurt. The coach,
that's what you tell him, right?
I know, the coach has to say, get back in it. Don't you dare come out of the game.
Well, your third string running back would be Roderick McDowell, who's a redshirt freshman who's hardly played this year. Harper's going to get it again on first down. No gain for Jamie Harper. Andre Ellington, turf toe injury. He's missed the last 3, but he's the explosive running back in this Clemson offense. Has 3 touchdown runs of 50+, trying to warm up and go tonight. And there you see him conversing with the head coach, Dabo Swinney, just kind of nodding and saying, it just doesn't feel right. But apparently it's feeling better. Here comes Andre Ellington. The Clemson fans know it. Ellington back on the field. They give him a great ovation. The sophomore from Moncks Corner, South Carolina. On the draw on second down, rather. No gain. Tajh Boyd on the stop.
And Tajh Boyd is a good player in the middle of that defensive line. And that just didn't look like the same Andre Ellington. You see the tape there. And typically you put a splint in their shoe as well, don't you, Coach?
Yeah, it's a steel splint that, again, it almost immobilizes that joint so there can't be any stress on it. And again, he's probably got an SSI shot up so that he's not feeling any pain. He'll be sore tomorrow if he plays a good deal tonight.
There will be surgery after the season, but the training staff says can't do any more damage than is already done on that toe. Empty backfield for 3rd and 9. Gamecocks bring the blitz. Parker has to unload. Incomplete. Melvin Ingram coming hard. With Devin Taylor. Melvin Ingram is a tremendous athlete.
He actually leads this team in sacks with 8. And again, he plays about 1/3. They rotate his defensive end position to keep those guys fresh.
Zimmerman hangs it up to Sanders. Fair catch inside the 25. 19 straight for the Gamecocks. 12-point lead on Clemson. There is a flag down.
It's like a line of scrimmage issue based on where it was thrown.
Asking Spurrier, it's going to be legal motion on Clemson. Do they want to re-punt it here?
See what the head ball coach has to say.
Illegal shift on the kicking team. That penalty is 5 yards added to the end of the kick. First down.
Another Tiger punt. Can the Gamecocks turn it into more points? November 1977, just known as the catch. Clemson wide receiver Jerry Butler makes this diving backwards 20-yard touchdown reception. 49 seconds left to give the Tigers a 31-27 victory in Columbia. That was one of the 2 Gator Bowl teams under head coach Charlie Pell. Only here for 2 years. 2 Gator Bowls. Lattimore out of the backfield makes the catch on first down for South Carolina. Brewer makes a stop. First down Gamecocks.
Again, they sort of lost Lattimore coming out of the backfield, and he gained about 15 or 16 yards, which is his average per catch.
And what is impressive, we've seen him carry the ball a bit. And Clemson's done a nice job of containing him. We saw him chip on Daquan Bowers. You see him in protection. You see him out in routes. That's impressive stuff for a kid right out of high school.
Out of the eye on first down. Lattimore gets it again. Nothing doing on first down. Carrico Hawkins, middle linebacker, on the stop. Chris Berman hosts ESPN's 2-hour pregame show with analysts Tom Jackson, Keyshawn Johnson, Mike Ditka, Chris Carter, NFL insiders Chris Mortensen, and Adam Schechter. Sunday NFL Countdown presented by IBM on ESPN tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern.
There's a lot of NFL talent playing on this field tonight.
You're right. Draw on second down. Lattimore dropped by Brandon May, wearing 44 tonight for Clemson.
They've done a nice job hitting him tonight.
They really have. They've done a great job tackling him because they're getting him to the ground, stopping him before he gets started, not allowing that traction factor that he has to work.
And credit Brandon May, 7 tackles now for the junior from Mobile, Alabama. He's going to check out for third down.
Now they've got to find a way to get themselves on the field. They've been out here a ton in the first half. Critical to get your offense another possession.
Confusion in the secondary prior to 3rd and 6. Garcia over the middle, incomplete, intended for Jeffery, and the Tigers get a much-needed stop.
I tell you what, that was going to the well one too many times. He was double and almost triple covered. One guy over the top, 2 guys underneath. You can see this. They're running a crossing route underneath him. But watch the drop here. Then watch Jeffery coming in right there. 1 guy, 2 guys from the middle, 1 guy over the top. Ball forced in. That's confidence in your receiver to throw it back shoulder in that situation.
That's dangerous. And nice to see Daquan Bowers for Clemson. You saw him move inside to tackle on that play. A spin move to at least get to the feet of Garcia and affect the accuracy of that pass.
Just the second South Carolina punt. The first was 45 from Lanning, who handles both the place kicking and the punting duties. Gilchrist takes it near the 10. Marcus Gilchrist trying to turn the corner. Gilchrist tripped out of bounds at the 22. Jeffery on the stop. Now let's take a look at our FaceTime profile brought to you by Edward Jones. It is the musically talented Daquan Bowers. In fact, Music City Bowl last year, participants get a guitar. Dabo Swinney has that Music City Bowl guitar in his office. He says that's Daquan's guitar. He comes in here and plays it all the time.
I like the coat and the outfit better. Could I get one of those?
Yes.
Yes,
absolutely right. Let's see, we have Illinois at Fresno State next week. Make sure to tune in, folks. Mike Bellotti is going to bust out Daquan's suit.
You know, white sport coat and a pink carnation, that's the opposite, right?
Pink sport coat.
No, you couldn't. You're right. Plus, I can't play with the guitar.
The legendary Singing Stars was a group that his late father put together. Daquan traveled around the country with that singing group. And by the way, he says if you ever get to Bamberg, South Carolina, the Alley Wings and Raiders, that's the place to go. Friday night after the football game, that's where you want to go. His cousin Chris Franklin played here when he was a kid. He said he used to love coming to Memorial Stadium, Frank Howard Field. Grew up a Tiger fan. Parker's missed his last 6 pass attempts. Screen complete to Brown. Tripped up as we check in with Wendy.
Thank you very much. Coming up on the Outback Steakhouse halftime report, there's Bedlam in Stillwater with Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. It is official. There are 3 teams that finish atop the Big Ten. We'll tell you how the BCS will sort it all out, and the ACC championship game is set. We'll show you who is headed to Charlotte and how it happened.
Well, we know South Carolina is going to the SEC championship game. Champs of the SEC East Division for the first time. Gamecocks, a former member of the ACC, where Clemson competes. On 3rd down, receiver slips, pass is incomplete. Intended for 4.
Got to move the chains. There's only 2 minutes left here. They may not get the ball back, which is difficult when you're down to 2 touchdowns.
And you're playing right into the strength of the South Carolina defense. Yes, they've given up a ton of pass yards. Why they won't finish as highly as they have in the past. But Dabo knows you cannot be one-dimensional. Lead the country in sacks. 7th in America against the rush. Controlling the game defensively.
South Carolina has punted twice. This is the 6th punt attempt by Clemson. The 5th time that they've actually gotten a punt off. Downing it at the 35. It's been 19 straight for South Carolina after the 7-0 start. So this is next week for the Gamecocks. What do you think of the matchup between Auburn and South Carolina?
You know, I'll tell you what, Auburn is one of those teams, a little bit like LSU used to be with the Rabbit's Foot. They find a way to win. Cam Newton is unstoppable. I will say that because he finds ways to beat you either with his feet or with his arm. South Carolina had a chance the last time they played him. Could not finish the game.
I love what Spurrier said to us when he went down to the swamp. He said, I told my boys, give fate a chance to smile on the Gamecocks. Fate has been smiling on Auburn all season long.
Both South Carolina and Clemson played Auburn this season and both played them well. Tigers really defended Cam Newton and the Auburn Tigers well. Lattimore out of the backfield, makes the grab on 1st down. Gilchrist shuts him out, but a gain of 7.
Awareness, right?
Yeah.
Just awareness. Understand I've got 1 timeout.
You're 100% right. A true freshman coming out of high school can block people, understands catching the ball, transitions to the run, then gets out of bounds. I'm amazed at his maturity.
Burns, South Carolina. Mentioned earlier, he played sophomore year high school state championship game here. And the rush for 305 yards and 4 touchdowns. Lattimore gets it again on the draw. Makes the first defender miss, but Hall held him up long enough.
You know, sometimes when you're a playmaker at the high school level and counted on to make plays, you just step into that same role at the next level. You never give that thing up. It's just whether you get the opportunity and whether you're physically mature enough to handle it, which he obviously is.
You mean when you're a 2-time state champion, you've run for 6,400 yards in high school and 104 touchdowns? Yeah, I think that does give you some confidence when you move to the next level.
Been there, done that.
Came into this week tied for the national lead with 19 total touchdowns as a freshman. Garcia rolling on 3rd and 3. He's going to throw it back. Caught first down inside the 35. Justice Cunningham, the backup tight end, makes the catch.
Nice job of moving the pocket to buy time for that late developing route down the back sideline. And again, great throw all the way back across the field.
Yeah, very similar to the Alshon Jeffery play, right? You move the pocket, you get all those eyes moving in one direction. You sneak Cunningham somehow at 270 pounds to the other side of the field, and another accurate pass from Garcia.
Cunningham had only 5 catches on the season prior to tonight. 2 versus Clemson in the first half. This one goes for 25. Garcia wants Jeffery in the end zone. Incomplete.
Very physical battle going down the field. And I'm surprised we didn't get a flag because the ball was in the air, but they let the guys battle just a little bit there.
I really like the game the old ball coach is calling right now. He's getting his stars involved. He's taking his shots to Jeffery. I like this. The quarterback, I love it. One-on-one situation. I know I have the safety coming over the top. That's why you see a little flatter throw from Garcia. But they've moved the pocket. They've run draws. They've run screens. It's been a really good mix and balance for South Carolina and Steve Spurrier in the first half.
Cody Sensabaugh in coverage that time for the Tigers. South Carolina scored 19 straight, trying to add to it before the half. Flag down, Garcia. Pass incomplete, but again, there's a flag down right on the Tiger paw at midfield.
I'm going to guess that's holding because he pump faked it and held onto the ball, and I think it changed some of the angles for his offensive lineman.
Holding. 66 on the offense. The penalty is 10 yards from the previous spot. 2nd down.
Eckerson, the right tackle.
Yeah.
I think that's actually the left tackle. Poor Hutch Eckerson. His name gets called once on national TV. He's not even the one holding.
Might have been Kyle Nunn, left tackle. Bottom line, holding 10-yard penalty.
Stephen Garcia's got to be careful here. You're in control of this game. I know you like your receivers and take shots, but you really don't want to give Clemson any life here by turning the ball over.
Get to a manageable 3rd down. Let's get half of it back right here.
Screen. Lattimore makes the grab out of the backfield. Chased down from behind by Perico Hopkins. Bringing up 3rd down. Would you call this 3rd and manageable?
It's manageable. When you're 2nd and 20, getting to 3rd and 8 or something like that is manageable. Great job by Perico Hopkins to run down Lattimore in the open field. I was thinking screen would have been my call right there.
Be careful here, clock management-wise.
6.5. Garcia sends the heat to the end zone. It's incomplete. 2 seconds showing on the game clock. South Carolina did have a timeout.
Yeah, he sees that clock ticking down, and the kicker he has. You forecast ahead to that Auburn game, and you get into these championship games, as you saw with Boise last night, when you don't have a kicker you can trust. And Lanny's a guy they trust. He hit from 49, 47, and 41 against Alabama. This guy's a real weapon when you get to championship level football.
This is 49. His career long is 51. A 49-yard field goal is no good. Lanning misses the 49-yarder, but after an explosive start for the Tigers, it was 7-0 to begin this game, 19 straight for the Carolina Gamecocks. Just barely. 7 on the board for the Tigers in the 108th meeting between the Gamecocks and Tigers. Now we send you to Windy Nicks for the Outback Steakhouse halftime report.
This is the Dr. Pepper Rivalry Series, unrivaled competition.
Welcome to my house, buckle up tight. Everybody's dancing, grooving, and getting on down. So before you come in here with some kind of attitude, you better read the house rules.
In this house, it's been all South Carolina after Clemson took an early 7-0 lead, 19 straight. The Dr. Pepper Rivalry Series, the 108th meeting between South Carolina and Clemson. Welcome back to Clemson, South Carolina. I'm Carter Blackburn with former Oregon head coach Mike Bellotti, former Washington quarterback Brock Heward. Mentioned a 7-0 start for Clemson. Tigers moved the football in the passing game, but not much doing on the ground.
No, they started like a house of fire and got off to a great start throwing the football. Cannot run the ball. They were 1 of 7 on third downs. They were averaging 2 yards a carry by the best running back. You can't set up manageable third downs when you can't run the football.
Wondering if this was a trap game for South Carolina with Auburn, the SEC championship looming a week ahead. Clemson comes out hot, but South Carolina responds. 14 rushes, just 7 yards for Clemson.
Alshon Jeffery has been like a horse on fire, the way he's been so explosive, Mike. Let's take a look at our Timberland game track. DeAndre Hopkins, 99 receiving yards, 45 of them. This is on the first Clemson possession. Touchdown Tigers, 7-0 lead, but then a fumble on the punt. One play later, the Gamecocks take it into the end zone for a touchdown. DiMarco with his second touchdown grab of the season. And then Jeffery with 4 receptions, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Alshon Jeffery, that's our Timberland game track.
1 of 10 semifinalists for the Biletnikoff Award. Garcia loves to throw it up. Who's a better receiver right now in college football?
Maybe Blackman from Oklahoma State, but it'd be really darn close.
We've seen Ryan Broyles from Oklahoma a couple times this year. All those guys are Biletnikoff semifinalists for the college wide receiver of the year.
Well, let's not forget that Garcia threw for 205 yards in the first half, too. I mean, Alshon Jeffery makes some plays, but he spread the ball around, threw the touchdown to DiMarco in the flat. Has done a nice job of avoiding pressure for the most part,
and
too.
A nice mix of formations and personnel groups and different looks from the old ball coach in the first half.
Garcia on 2nd and 7. Gives to the freshman running back Marcus Lattimore. Maybe a yard. Jenkins on the stop.
You know, both teams have done a great job of stopping the run and really containing Marcus Lattimore, because he is 100-yard back per game. But again, they've both given up some yards in the passing game.
And Clemson defensively can't be even. They need to force turnovers. And you're playing at home. You're in a rivalry game. You've got a good front four. You've got a veteran secondary. Clemson cannot afford to play it even in the turnover game. They have to make plays on this side of the ball.
Garcia's going to tuck it on 3rd and 5 and scramble for a Gamecock first down.
That type of a play can frustrate a defense and frustrate a defensive line. You're working very hard to get up to the quarterback. All of a sudden he's gone and he picks up the first down.
Yeah, you stuff the run on 1st and 2nd down. But this is what South Carolina has done so well this season. 9th in America in 3rd down conversions. You look ahead next week to Auburn. You play in championship games. You've got to find a way to stay on the field offensively. Well done by Stephen Garcia.
Garcia audibles as the Tigers show pressure up the middle. Lattimore picks up a couple.
I'll tell you, the Clemson team has been a very good tackling team tonight. Lattimore is one of the harder guys to tackle with both his vision and his strength and power. They've done a great job of single tackling him in the open field.
And yet 51 rushing yards for Marcus Lattimore, so he's right around pace for another 100-yard rushing game. Over 1,100 rushing yards now in his freshman season, averaging 5 yards a carry, 17 rushing touchdowns, 2 receiving touchdowns. Tied for the national lead in total touchdowns as Garcia is dropped. Intended for Alshon Jeffery. Brandon May gets the pressure.
Great job of getting your hands on the receiver at the cornerback position. Made Garcia hold the football, let the pass rush get to him. He took a couple of great hits right there.
And this is what you do not want to see with an SEC championship on the line in a week. And Garcia's been a little ginger. I think it was an earlier scrum, an earlier run play. He's been dangling his arm a little bit. And if you're Clemson and you see that opposing quarterback hurting, then you got to get after him that much more.
Now how about what Auburn is thinking? There's a flag down. Garcia rolling, pressured again, throws it into the turf. But again, flag down.
There were 2 people in motion. I don't think they reset for South Carolina. I don't know if there was somebody offsides for Clemson also. There's definitely a procedure penalty on South Carolina.
So Garcia clearly with a left non-throwing arm hurting.
Illegal formation on the offense. 5 players in the backfield. That penalty is refused. 4th down.
Tigers get the stop on 3rd down. Steven Garcia to the sideline to get attention on that ailing left non-throwing arm.
Whether you are ahead or behind going into the 3rd quarter, it's not the way you want to start the 2nd half. You want to get some first downs. You want to get it moving, get your team excited.
Spencer Lanning hangs the punt up. Fair catch called for by Gilchrist inside the 10. So the Tigers get the defensive stop that they needed to begin the 3rd quarter. Tiger football, but what will we see from Steven Garcia when the Gamecocks have it again? We showed you the catch earlier from 1977. How about 2000? South Carolina versus Clemson, trailing late in the game. Woody Dantzler connects with Ron Gardner for a 50-yard controversial reception, setting up the game-winning field goal. Tiger fans call it the catch 2. Some Gamecock fans call it the push, thinking maybe there was offensive pass interference. Out of the end zone, screen complete. Harper has it for a 1st down. On the screen out of the end zone, Parker to Harper.
That was awfully close. That ball has to be behind the line of scrimmage because Clemson has a guard about 15 yards down the field. You see the ball snapped on the 8. And it is. So clearly you can get those linemen out in front of you. That ball's just got to be behind the line of scrimmage. That's well executed. That is a way to slow down the Gamecocks defensively.
It's also throwing on 1st down, which they didn't do a lot in the 1st half.
On 1st down, it's Harper again. Harper rumbles across the 35. What did Dabo Swinney say? Andre Ellington is our home run hitter. Jamie Harper's a doubles guy. That's a double into the gap.
Well, he's a 235-pound back, but he's got great quickness in space. Quick feet, great hands. They like to throw him the ball, but here you see some of his running skills. Great move there, another move right there. And then again, make another guy miss, get yards after contact.
He did have a 63-yard touchdown run against Wake Forest, the longest touchdown run of his Tiger career. On 1st down, Harper again. First 3 touches of the 2nd half go to Jamie Harper.
Both teams talked about the need for balance, and balance means running the football effectively and efficiently to keep the defenses honest.
One area that also sets up for Clemson, which is a strength of Kyle Parker's, is the play action pass. If they can get the run going and influence these linebackers, you have a chance on the 2nd level with your play action passing game.
Kyle Parker, the sophomore, but playing his last game as a Clemson Tiger quarterback. Will be a professional baseball player when the football season's done. Rolling, throwing in, intercepted. Allen makes the grab, and Allen and runs it all the way back for a South Carolina touchdown. Antonio Allen with the INT for TD.
And we talked about the man coverage for South Carolina. They felt good about their matchups defensively to lock up. In very clear pre-snap, South Carolina was coming. Look at the safeties here. Everybody, Mike, 5 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, the contour right there dictates that you're going to get pressure, get forced out of the pocket, throw an ill-advised pass into the flat. Worst place you could throw it, directly to South Carolina, take it in for the touchdown.
Did Harper run the wrong route?
Could have been under pressure. You never know. We can take a look at that and see.
Perhaps we will. As it is, an INT for TD. Antonio Allen, the junior from Ocala, Florida, the pick six.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. There's nothing like a pepper.
1981 national championship for the Clemson Tigers. Last year they won their division in the ACC. This year 6 wins. They were hoping to cap off the regular season with a victory in the Palmetto rivalry against South Carolina. 26 straight now for the Gamecocks.
How about 6 defensive touchdowns this year for South Carolina?
Antonio Allen has his first interception. The junior from Florida grew up about 40 miles from Gainesville, home of the Gators. He was 1 year old when Steve Spurrier became the head coach for the Gators.
And Clemson has to stop making mistakes that give up touchdowns. They've had 2 in this game already, and that was an ill-advised throw by the quarterback under pressure. Don't know if the route was correct or not, but can't throw that ball in the flat.
Well, you posed the question, Carter, and here is your outlet. And you're going to see South Carolina peel. That was Antonio Allen, the spur linebacker peel. That's a swing route. That running back thinks he's covered. That's no man's land. And as a quarterback, you have to sail that over his head.
So we will have a new quarterback for the Clemson Tigers. This is Tajh Boyd, redshirt freshman from Hampton, Virginia. Won a state title in Virginia while playing with a torn ACL. He has only 22 pass attempts on the year, make it 23, and that one incomplete into at least double coverage.
And you're running right into the teeth of South Carolina's defense. #1 in the SEC in sacks, 36 this season, a school record for Tajh Boyd. This is not a favorable situation, down as many points as you are to a team that gets after the quarterback.
Dabo Swinney taking a look into the future right now as quarterback for next year. I don't know if he's given up on Kyle Parker tonight, but for right now, Tajh Boyd, he said, will be the quarterback next year.
Parker 7 of 17 tonight. A touchdown pass and then the INT for TD. Boyd's second pass is complete to Jerron Brown, the sophomore, who had a 74-yard touchdown against North Carolina, the highlight of his sophomore year.
And you recruited Tajh Boyd.
I did. He's a bigger, more physical guy. He's 6'1", 230. He runs very well. He's very comfortable throwing the football. But as Coach Swinney, we talked to him, he said, you know, he was farther away than he thought when he came in as a true freshman. He wanted to play, but he was good now. He understands the system. He's ready to play.
Ellington joins him in the backfield for 3rd and 3. Boyd's pass is tipped and incomplete. Robertson got a hand on it at the line.
Brock, I agree with you, though. Against the South Carolina team that can get after the quarterback, this is a tough time to make your debut in this type of a rivalry game. However, if you're going to do it, why not do it on a national stage?
And on one level, it's 26-7 at this point. I think you saw there from Tajh Boyd, all 3 of those throws, very little hesitation. He was willing to cut it loose. So that's the other flip side. Maybe at times you got nothing to lose when you're down as much as you are.
Sanders takes the punt, eludes the first tackler. There is a flag down as Sanders is dropped at the 43. Well, the flag was picked up, so no penalty on the punt. South Carolina football. Well, a 7-0 start for the Clemson Tigers, and now South Carolina's run up 26 straight, including the first points of the second half, and the INT for TD. So, Steven Garcia back on the field. Remember we said keep an eye on Garcia's apparently injured left non-throwing arm. There's going to be a false start penalty here against the Gamecocks.
They ain't playing tonight.
False start. 77 on the offense. 5 yards from the previous spot. First down.
And as a head coach now, Mike, is this the time that you're telling your defensive coordinator, Kevin Steele, you got to cut it loose? You've got to make a play. That same blitz you saw in South Carolina where they bring everybody. Is it time, sense of urgency now?
It is. There's no question you've got to create some turnovers. The problem is there's still Alshon Jeffery on the field and Marcus Lattimore. So you have to be careful. You keep enough people in the box to stop Lattimore before he gets started. And you got to find a way to stop Alshon Jeffery while still trying to create the turnover.
Play clock winding down here. Tigers do bring pressure on first down. It'll be a tackle for loss from the strong safety, DeAndre McDaniel. Well, in the locker room here for the Clemson Tigers, this is what this game means. All around the locker room, reminders of games past against South Carolina. The 63-17 game. Never, ever give up. The reminder for a Clemson team now trailing 26-7.
And those are up year-round. It's not something for this week. This is something they look at and see every single day. Think this rivalry is important?
Screen on second down. Lattimore out of the backfield gets near the original line of scrimmage. Xavier Brewer there on the stop. It has been 40 years since South Carolina has beaten Clemson in back-to-back seasons. They beat them in 68, 69, and 70. It's a rivalry for sure, but it's a rivalry that has been dominated by the Clemson Tigers. I mean, 65-38-4, the all-time series in favor of the Tigers. And South Carolina win by 17 last year in Columbia, have a chance to come down to Clemson, beat the Tigers on their home field. Garcia steps up and finds Alshon Jeffery on third down. He makes the grab.
You know, we talk a lot about vicinity passes. Yep. That's a vicinity pass, but the receiver has the range. Alshon Jeffery, oh my gosh, stretches out there. That's 6'4" for him. He plays like he's about 6'7".
When Alshon Jeffery makes a catch on third down to convert for the Gamecocks, that means points on the drive for the Gamecocks, including earlier tonight. Alshon Jeffery touchdown catch on third down. This play will be reviewed.
The previous play is under further review.
He's got it trapped against his stomach, it looks like, although it may have hit the ground at one point. It looked like a catch by the way he controlled it. That's not a great view right there.
It's going to be his left hand here. Is his left hand underneath the ball through contact with the ground? He have control of that ball?
By that angle, it looked like it. His right hand didn't, but his left hand kept it pinned against his chest. Let's see again. This one, I can't tell there. I think his leg blocks it, but it looks like the hand is under the ball, cradling it against his body.
Here's the definition of in possession. A player gains possession when he secures the ball firmly by holding or controlling it while contacting the ground inbound. The ball is then in player possession.
You've seen a center fielder's mitt, right, in baseball? Mm-hmm. Do his hands not look like a center field? Look at the size of his hands.
Or a first baseman's glove, one or the other. A lot of web span you're talking about?
Yeah, just engulfing that football, and that was zone coverage. We've seen him beat man-to-man. That's a third down. That's feeling the zone, people sitting down in that window for your quarterback.
If this catch stands.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands.
And it does. 5 catches, 141 yards, 1 touchdown for Alshon Jeffery. We showed you when he makes a catch on third down, keeping a drive alive. That means points all but 1 time this year for South Carolina.
Remember Derek Mays, the old Notre Dame receiver, had a chance to play with him with the Seahawks. He was the same way with the Seahawks. His hands were so enormous that he just would engulf the football. And there you see the strength all the way through contact with that ground. That ball does not move.
Good note there from Andy Demetra from the Gamecock ISP Sports Network. Negative play for Lattimore. We check in with Wendy.
Carter, thank you. It's a Dr. Pepper Big 12 update featuring the Bedlam battle. Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. The Sooners up 14-3 into Landry Jones. Picked off by Sean Lewis, who takes it all the way back 52 yards to make it 14-10. So Oklahoma still leading, but the deficit cut to 4 for Oklahoma State. Carter?
We'll be keeping up with that game on the bottom line throughout this one here in South Carolina. A little bit of a turnaround there when Oklahoma trying to play the spoiler in Bedlam against the Cowboys.
Well, we've seen them a couple times this year, and they've learned now how to win on the road. They're a very difficult and explosive offense, but they can play defense when they do. I want to say, Brock, you're right. Clemson right now is taking chances. They're doing a lot of blitzing in man-to-man situations, trying to force a turnover they desperately need.
Backing the Gamecocks into 3rd and 13. Straight rushes for Lattimore, all negative. Well, I think there was motion. Oh, boy. Yeah, and now some chippiness between the Tigers and Gamecocks. Remember, the defender can get back as long as he doesn't make contact.
And that guy, again, if it's an adjacent lineman, if he comes at me and I react, it's not a penalty. If I'm the guy on the end of the line and he goes in the middle, I don't think you can do that. It'll be interesting to see how this one is resolved.
Says Mike Bellotti, the former chair of the Rules Committee.
You know, for a rivalry game, there was only 5 penalties in the first half, which is really pretty good. I think they've done a great job of controlling their emotions.
Yeah, there's only 1 personal foul on either side. 1 for Clemson that resulted in the South Carolina field goal, and 1 against
and one of the ones that was called, again, I would have questioned whether it truly was a personal foul or a late hit or whatever it was.
False start. Offense. 5 yards from the previous spot. 3rd down.
Eckerson disagrees.
So the defender, as long as there's no contact, can come all the way through.
Exactly. Get back.
Yeah, so Bowers doesn't make contact, and then obviously Eckerson jumps and moves.
Exactly. If it were the center of the guard, he could have reacted based on that, and they wouldn't have called it. But when it's in a non-adjacent lineman, that's not allowed.
And that was Daquan Bowers who came across the line, but again had the opportunity to get back without making contact. Forcing the Gamecocks into 3rd and 19. Garcia flushed out of the pocket, flag down. Garcia's going to scramble out of bounds. Likely a hold coming up against the Gamecocks.
I think that was a WWF takedown right there. And they are moving Daquan Bowers around to give him a chance to exert some of that pressure on the quarterback we've seen from him all year long.
And it was Bowers blowing up the pocket this time again. He's come out more explosive in the second half.
Holding. 68 on the offense. That penalty is refused. 4th down.
And now we see Daquan on the right side, and there's some of his versatility. That's a beautiful inside swim move. He's played left end, D tackle, that time right end. Draws the penalty.
Number 3 on Mel Kiper's big board, draft eligible football players. He is a junior. Even though he's rated so highly, Dabo Swinney says we're going to have a conversation a couple of days after the regular season. Daquan's been a great leader for this football team. Oh, how about that bounce? And how about the fake? Lanning lands it inside the 1. The Tigers are backed up. I'll go slightly obscure on you guys, talking about great sports fakes. The 1991 World Series in baseball, Chuck Knobloch faking out Lonnie Smith at second base. Marcus Gilchrist putting himself in that fake conversation.
And that's punt returner back here. He sells it. He does his job. Watch Gilchrist with all of the South Carolina defenders around him. And here's the football before it kicks out to the half-inch line.
And a great bounce. It actually worked against him. He wouldn't have fielded that ball because it was inside the 5-yard line, but goes out of bounds inside the 1. So now Clemson has a difficult job of punching it out from your own end zone.
So the Tiger defense gets the stop they needed. Now the offense just trying to make sure they get it out of the end zone on the first couple of snaps. It is Boyd still in at quarterback, the redshirt freshman, second series in relief of Kyle Parker after an interception for touchdown thrown by Parker.
And that's where your cadence is critical. They're actually in the end zone with the South Carolina band right behind him. He's got to be loud for everybody to hear.
Boyd on second down, play fake. Boyd to throw to the air on second down, out of the end zone, incomplete, intended for Jerron Brown. Whitlock in coverage.
It was a pretty good throw. You'd like to have it thrown through the outside shoulder so the receiver could use his body to shield the DB. But again, tip is not that unusual down there. Run on first down, get a little room, then throw a play action pass because you got a lot of room. Again, that ball could have been caught, maybe tipped slightly, but through the outside shoulder would have been a big play.
Well, you're exactly right. If that's outside, and we've seen from Alshon tonight on the other side, Garcia puts that ball up, and Alshon Jeffery will leverage and use his body to separate from the corner.
Tigers have only converted 1 third down tonight. Harper gets the handoff out of the end zone on third down. Good leg drive. He's stopped short of the first down. Stephon Gilmore makes the stop. Harper gets it out of the end zone near the 10, so at least room to punt for Zimmerman.
Right, the goal when you're down there is to get 1 first down, so if you get the drive stopped, you don't have to punt out of your own end zone, because typically special teams coordinators, you get down here, you get a block, it's going to result in points one way or the other. So they may be coming after this punt.
Already a bungled punt attempt earlier.
Coming after it.
Zimmerman got it away. Gamecocks will get excellent field position near the 40. Tomorrow night, VCS Countdown presented by Vizio. Tomorrow at 8:15 Eastern, including who's projected to go where in the ever-complicated VCS, including the Big East scenarios, the Big Ten scenarios.
We know this. These two are done. You figure Stanford's going to move up. What did Wisconsin do? Oh, they just put another 70 points on the board today.
Oklahoma may creep back into this whole thing. Just watch out.
Only a 30-yard punt from Zimmerman. So South Carolina gets it at the 39, the Clemson 39. Garcia rolling, heaving it long into double coverage. Intended for Jeffery, incomplete. He came back and grabbed the football, but was out of bounds after it was tipped by Byron Maxwell.
And if I'm Steve Spurrier on the sidelines before this drive and with the field position, I like the call. You're going to go to your big play guy and look at, he nearly makes that guy. That right foot was very close to getting down before the left. But if I'm Steve Spurrier, I'm telling South Carolina right now, finish. Finish. If you watched college football yesterday and saw Boise State, Nevada, you saw Alabama in the Iron Bowl, this is your chance to really make a defining blow where you have very favorable field position.
Moore gets it on second down, stood up. We'll have 3rd and 10.
I don't mind the previous call. I don't think the ball should have gone there. The guy was covered, double covered. Oh, now it is Alshon Jeffery. So if you're going to throw it up for somebody and tell him go get the ball, probably be him. But now you're facing 3rd and 10, and again you had a chance to get some points on the board. I think again, play action where you got another alternative, multiple receivers in the route, probably better.
Speaking of Boise State, you guys among the football junkies who didn't get a lot of sleep last night watching that Boise State Nevada finish.
Incredible. Just an incredible game of momentum swings.
It's a great win for Nevada. Tough loss for Boise, especially for Chris Peterson. Poor young kicker. Not young. Again, just not put in a position where you got to make a play in overtime or regulation to win the football game.
Garcia heaves it on 3rd down. Pass interference coming. Maxwell got tangled up with Jeffery.
Maxwell may not be very happy, but I think that was a very obvious call. Ball was in the air. Receiver was looking back for it, and he was being pushed out of bounds at that time. Obvious pass interference. And they're not messing around. They're throwing the ball down the field for the end zone.
Defense, number 36. The penalty is 15 yards from the previous spot. Carries an automatic first down.
One of the other things that Coach Spurrier said was, we're going to play, we need to play with no fear. And again, this is obviously no fear from the play call, the opportunity to go get the football, or the quarterback putting it up for him.
Well, you know why Maxwell's arguing is he's Jeffery first establishes all the contact. He's the one pushing and hand fighting early, but you can't do it late down the field. You're going to draw that flag.
First and 10 out of the eye. Lattimore. Not much room for Marcus Lattimore.
He's had to work hard tonight. He's only averaging about 3 yards a carry right now. And again, he may get to his 100 yards because they're going to run him, I believe, in the fourth quarter if they need to. I don't know if they will, though, if they're ahead. If this lead stays, I believe they'll try to get some other people in the game.
Oh, you got to protect him, don't you, with the championship on the line?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
South Carolina will play next week. Auburn in the SEC championship game. This is an out-of-conference game. Clemson in the ACC, South Carolina in the SEC. More motion on the line, another flag down.
That's a great shot of Eckerson patting his right guard on the helmet because they came into the neutral zone, and that time Watkins responds.
Outside. 9-8 on the defense in the neutral zone. 5 yards from the previous spot.
And to be clear, I step on their throat right now. I score a touchdown here, but in this fourth quarter, I'm protecting Lattimore. You go up 33-7. I've got to seriously start thinking of limiting his carries.
I agree completely. There's no question. You score right now, and you probably score the first drive of the fourth quarter. Then you take those guys out.
Lattimore gets it on second down. Nothing doing there. Clearly the Tiger defense. All eyes on number 21, Marcus Lattimore. So only 45 rushing yards in the game now for Marcus Lattimore.
That's one of the issues with coaches at this time of the year, because you're looking at, you see other teams get beat at the end because they don't finish a game. You have limited personnel. You can't go to the waiver wire and replace a back or a quarterback or a receiver if they get hurt late in the game when you're up by 3 scores. So it's a sort of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Look at the plays in opponent's territory. One play run by Clemson. That was the 45-yard touchdown on the first possession to DeAndre Hopkins. Since then, all Gamecocks. 26th straight for South Carolina. Landing with 23 in Tiger territory. Jump ball incomplete. Intended for Jeffery on the outside. This time blocked up by Maxwell.
Now, those are 44 hard-earned yards, but I'll tell you, having him in the game influences the defense. Having him in the game allows you those shots down the field to Jeffery. That balance we've talked about all night, which is why South Carolina took that step this year with their program and winning their first ever SEC championship, having that dual threat. So even though the yards and production aren't there, his influence still very strong tonight.
37-yard field goal attempt coming from Spencer Lanning. He's made 46, 25. And now 37. Senior from Rock Hill, South Carolina, makes it 29 unanswered. From Steve Spurrier's South Carolina Gamecocks to take a 29-7 lead. Monday night, 49ers Cardinals on ESPN's Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern Time. Coverage begins at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Niners still in the playoff hunt, trying to make the playoffs for the first time since 2002.
Troy Smith, the quarterback for the 49ers, I think hoping his Ohio State Buckeyes can somehow maybe sneak into the national championship or certainly go to the Rose Bowl this year.
What Gordon Gee would think about UConn playing in the BCS and Boise State not playing in the BCS.
Well, Ohio State took care of business today, and they smashed Michigan once again. But I don't think you're going to surpass Wisconsin. And Brent Bielema making a statement with his program. 83 points a few weeks ago against Indiana, 70 today against Northwestern. I think the BCS ranking's going to favor Wisconsin to the point that they're probably going to be in Pasadena.
Absolutely. I think, again, with the polls being 2/3 of the vote now, and that's a human vote, they are going to be influenced by that type of scoring.
It was 7-0 Clemson, but 29 unanswered from South Carolina in the 108th meeting between the Gamecocks and Tigers. Gilchrist fields the kickoff at the 5. Shoved out near the 25 as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Carter, thank you. A Taco Bell studio update. Andrew Luck and Stanford facing Oregon State. Luck to Doug Baldwin, their second touchdown of the day. And Andrew Luck with 27 touchdowns this season. That ties John Elway and Steve Stenstrom for most in the season, 31-0.
All right, guys, where is Stanford bowl-wise?
Stanford is out of luck right now. Because again, really, they're a great football team. They are one of the best one-loss teams in the nation, maybe the best, but they may not get to a BCS game just because of the way it's got to be picked this year.
Tajh Boyd, third series. He trips and falls at the 15. It'll be a sack for Travian Robertson.
In fact, did we say that Stanford may be in the Alamo Bowl? Is that the second bowl for the Pac-10 this year?
Well, remember, if Auburn and Oregon both win and they play for the title, then TCU will go to the Rose Bowl.
Right.
Stanford
will
will
be an at-large team in the Rose Bowl.
That's because Oregon goes the BCS championship game. TCU would fill that spot. Tajh Boyd to DeAndre Hopkins, shoved out. 34 ticks to go in the third quarter, and another third down coming for the Tigers. Only 1 for 9 on third down tonight. The Clemson Tigers just unable to move the chains against the Gamecock defense.
Well, 3rd and 14, nearly impossible against this group when you can rush for the way they can. And tonight in particular, in the matchup of their secondary on Clemson's receivers, they've been able to lock them down one-on-one.
But remember, they're 104th in the nation in pass defense. So as you say that, there's always hope.
An excellent sack team. Good throw from Boyd. Pass is tipped and incomplete. Boyd put it on a rope. But Swearinger was there in coverage to knock it away.
And that's just a tad bit late. A little bit of a joker front for South Carolina. All the guys lingering around the line of scrimmage, and Swearinger does a nice job of dialing in on the eyes of Tajh Boyd. Remember, Swearinger beat for the touchdown earlier in the game when he jumped the double move. That time he waits till the ball's in the air and he explodes for the pass knockdown.
You know, it's not working much tonight, but this is a youth movement at Clemson. Every one of the specialists is an underclassman, will be back next year, plus a healthy Andre Ellington.
That punt will be the final play of the third quarter. 29 straight in the game for the Gamecocks to the 4th, trying to make it back-to-back wins over Clemson for the first time in 40 years. 42 chilly degrees in Clemson, South Carolina, as we get ready for the fourth quarter between the Gamecocks and the Tigers. The 108th meeting started 7-0 Clemson. It's been all South Carolina since. The Gamecocks are 15 minutes away from beating Clemson in back-to-back seasons for the first time in 48 years. Dr. Pepper Rivalry Series. This is the third longest played continuous series in college football. I said the first time we went to that, guys, that make folks guess. I know you guys now know what it is, but I'm not sure if a lot of people would know. Kansas, Nebraska, and Wisconsin, Minnesota. Now, with Nebraska going to the Big Ten, that means that the Gamecocks and the Tigers are going to be bumped up in the uninterrupted series.
That's right. That's right, with the new affiliation.
And that is remarkable. In the last 40 years, South Carolina's never won consecutive games.
On to the backup, Brian Maddox now at tailback in relief of Marcus Lattimore, playing off of exactly what we talked about in the third quarter. 102 straight meetings between these two. Kansas, Nebraska 105, Minnesota, Wisconsin 104. And again, that's when the 1909 began this streak of 102 straight games. The first meeting on the football field, 1896, between Clemson and South Carolina. 50 years ago, the first game between these two played here at Memorial Stadium. Used to play in the capital city of Columbia, South Carolina, where the University of South Carolina is located. Here in State Fairview. 3rd and 5, pass tipped and incomplete. A 3-and-out forced by the Clemson defense. This just the second 3-and-out by the Gamecocks. Andre Branch got a hand on it.
Coach Spurrier, yeah, you know, I think he's trying to relieve the stress, or he's talking to himself down there. He knew if that pass was just an inch higher, it would have been complete for the first down.
Sometimes it's tough being a quarterback for the head football coach.
It's a good thing we have you here to describe the coach's body language.
You needed an interpretation of that one, though.
Yeah.
I said, you said earlier the old ball coach. I said I resemble that. So.
Taken inside the 10 by Gilchrist. It'll be Clemson football. The Tigers need to put points on the board in a hurry. Trailing the rival Gamecocks by 22 in the fourth. We love our jobs for good cause, but it oftentimes means being away from home on the vacations. So operations producer Jenny McIver set up our Thanksgiving meal. Also special thanks to producer John Latushka for all the help that he has provided throughout the season. We can't introduce you to our entire crew. So I think crew representative may be Mr. Oz, our veteran handheld cameraman who patrols the sidelines. Tajh Boyd is going to scramble on first down, takes a big hit, fumble the football. Clemson recovers. Boyd took a blow.
One of those teachable moments you hope, if he can survive it, that you do not. Taking care of the football means taking care of your body as a quarterback. And again, he should tuck the ball away right here, get down and avoid contact. I'm not sure if he even saw the guy coming from the inside, unfortunately. That's a heck of a hit.
Sandwich, Quinn Smith and Demario Jeffrey both lay the lick on Tajh Boyd.
That's called a Tajh Boyd bobblehead. With the chin strap popping off for due measure. Get down, kid.
Did you take a few of those in your career, Brock? Yeah.
Not very many, because you wouldn't survive too many of those.
Boyd stepping up and throwing on second down behind Jerron Brown.
You know, there's no quitting the young man, and he's very tough, obviously. He's right back in there throwing that. He delivered that one right on the money.
There's Mr. Oz, and he is Mr. Oz from the Lone Star State. Again, we can't introduce you to everybody on our hardworking crew, but I think Mr. Oz represents our team very well on the sidelines of college football. It is amazing what week to week goes in. We set up the big top in one college town, take it down, roll to the next one. It's amazing. Third down and 10. Boyd throwing, intended for Harper, but lucky there was somebody else there to make the grab. It's DeAndre Hopkins for just the second third down conversion by the Tigers, drawing big mock cheers from the Clemson fans.
Freshman to freshman right there, and again, a look at the future.
It was behind Harper, but Hopkins slides in to make the grab. Boyd tosses complete again on first down. This time it's Brandon Ford.
You know, do you like, again, they're in a situation now from a play calling standpoint where they're going to throw it every down. But when you get a hit like that, you stay in the game, come right back throwing. How do you feel about that as a quarterback?
Well, you certainly knock any cobwebs out of your head, and you say, I survived that. I could take the hardest hit of my life, and I get up, I have all my teeth and my senses.
Screen on second down. Jones dropped for no gain.
But it's even better when you can start moving these chains, and that's what they have got to find a way to do.
You're right, because they have a bowl game coming up. They're not sure where they're going to play, but they've got to get some confidence in the quarterback position and this offense. Got to rediscover how to convert third downs.
Well, even though Kyle Parker is a sophomore eligibility-wise, everyone knows that he's going to be a professional baseball player. So Tajh Boyd, you would expect to get a whole lot more reps during those critical bowl practices as well. Extra reps. Boyd's pass here is complete. Marquand Jones hauls it in across the 45.
Begrudgingly, the crowd is coming back into this game right now. I think again they'd be excited to see Clemson take this ball down and score.
Well, they know as well that Tajh Boyd is their next quarterback. On the draw, this is Harper who takes it on first down across midfield. So for just the second time tonight, Clemson crosses midfield into South Carolina territory. First time they scored a touchdown.
I will say the ball comes out of his hand pretty clean. He's not a guy that struggles for RPMs and velocity. Big kid, as he said, 230, and he can throw it.
Keeps it again on second down. Caught. First down, Clemson. Tigers move the football. Jerron Brown hauls this one in.
He has a quick release, a very strong arm, and a nice tight spiral. And you're right, Brock, that ball gets there in a hurry. When you throw this type of route down the field before the receiver steps out of bounds, you've got finish on the ball.
And I thought we would maybe see this a little bit earlier. Quicken the tempo. Try to establish some rhythm offensively by speeding it up.
Trouble on first down. He heaves it into the sidelines, makes the right play. A note on Kyle Parker. We talked about him signing his professional baseball contract, first-round pick of the Colorado Rockies. He turned down even more money from the Rockies as part of that package to come back and play quarterback one more year at Clemson. He wanted to play one more season for the Tigers, but again, Dabo Swinney and everyone around Clemson football knowing that his future, his immediate future, is as a professional baseball player. Boyd on second down, spinning and picking up about 3. Well, Kyle Parker last year went to the College World Series with the Clemson Tigers. Said that the best part of going to Rosenblatt Stadium, taking BP, where you can just soak in where you are. Look around. That was the last College World Series at Rosenblatt Stadium. Parker has been a solid quarterback and a stellar baseball player for the Tigers.
I wonder what's more fun, throwing a touchdown or hitting a home run. 20 home runs, 20 touchdown passes.
Third down, Boyd stopped. And I will say this, Parker said the part of baseball that he took to the football practice field, the everyday grind of baseball, just there, you don't take days off, there's a routine. So he said, yeah, he said that's what I took from baseball onto the football field, improving, getting better every day.
I will be curious to watch, however, in bowl practices, what do you do now? Is it getting ready for the future, where for so many teams it's about playing those young guys? How are you going to split up those reps in that playing time in the bowl game to come for Clemson?
Well, with a 6-6 record, the future is now. It's a winning season if you win that bowl game.
Tigers going for it on fourth down. They fake the draw. Boyd pressured and sacked. Loose football recovered by the Gamecocks. Cliff Matthews drills Tajh Boyd. Robertson recovers the fumble. Gamecocks dial it up on the redshirt freshman.
ESPN's College Football Primetime, brought to you by Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, now with single and multiplayer, in stores now.
The final big Thursday game played in Columbia, South Carolina, part of State Fair Week, went to the Tigers 20-0. Next year, they started the home and home with the first game here 50 years ago at Memorial Stadium, Frank Howard Field, the home of the Rock. Flag on first play coming out of the timeout.
Offside. Defense in the neutral zone, number 94. 5 yards from the previous spot. First down.
That's on Ronnie Moore.
One of the things you'll see from South Carolina now, instead of the up-tempo, they're going slow down, use the clock, take time off. And when you do that, you can false key the front with your cadence.
Garcia still in at quarterback. Brian Maddox in at tailback. In relief of Lanning. Maddox picks up a first down as we check in with Wendy Nix.
Carter, thank you. Oklahoma State at the half over on ABC. The Cowboys driving here, though, trailing 21-10. Brandon Whedon to Justin Blackman, a 45-yard strike. And just a few plays later, Jeremy Smith will punch it in from 2 yards out to make it 21-17. But the Sooners have tacked on a field goal, 24-17 at the half.
That's still a lot of time for an explosive Oklahoma State team to come back.
Those teams are both very explosive offensively.
A lot of orange on your television set tonight between Oklahoma State and the Clemson Tigers. Tigers going all orange tonight. Maddox, first down run, flag on the play. Guys, I wonder, in the SEC championship game, it's going to be South Carolina versus Auburn. If Auburn loses that game, so if the Gamecocks win, do you think then that third place team, assuming it's TCU, Does TCU then play for the national championship, or do you think Auburn can sustain a loss in the SEC championship game and hold on to that 2 spot, play for the title?
I believe 2 undefeated teams should play in the championship. The problem is that TCU was somewhat dropping, and they're playing New Mexico today, which is not going to help their strength of schedule or anything like that. So they won't rise as much. I don't know. That's a 50-50 proposition in my mind.
But it probably hurts that LSU loses, right? That was a high quality win in those computer rankings for Auburn. Now LSU loses. They're going to fall out a little bit. I think if Auburn loses, yeah, I think it would be TCU that moves up.
This is Maddox on 1st and 20 now for South Carolina. And a reminder, the BCS standings revealed tomorrow night, 8:15 Eastern. BCS Countdown presented by Vizio on ESPN.
You know, a couple things stand out here now with just over 7 minutes to play. Number one, South Carolina, for the 3rd time, just the 3rd time. We've talked about the streaks in the history. This is the 3rd time they get to 9 wins. The other time, the Black Magic season in 1984, Lou Holtz in 2001 got them to 9, and now they have a chance not only win the SEC championship, to do something they've never done and get to 11 wins if they can run the table with 2 to go.
And I guarantee you, Coach Spurrier will be talking about, he'll be talking about that 1 game at a time. Make sure you understand that. 1 game at a time.
Well, remember, this could be another big play for the Gamecocks. Maddox is finally tripped up as he crosses the 40-yard line. McDaniel makes the potentially touchdown-saving tackle.
And Maddox is just a bigger version of Latimer. He's listed a fullback, 5'11", almost 230 pounds. But he can block as well as carry the football.
Even with that run from Maddox of 15 yards, still not a first down. This is 3rd and 2 coming for the Gamecocks. And as you predicted, Brock, utilizing the play clock, under 9 now.
And as Mike said, looking at that defensive front for which call and where you want to run this ball.
Maddox takes it. Tries running right guard. Nothing there. Rico Hawkins, the middle linebacker for Clemson, in on the stop. 4th down coming for the Gamecocks.
And now with 5 minutes to go on the flip side, Dabo Swinney has been very competitive here at Clemson. In fact, their 5 losses this season, you can tell a pretty good story. Just 26 points in those 5 losses, been in every game. You're looking right now at the worst loss in Dabo Swinney's career here of 32 games. Margin of victory last year in this matchup, 34-17, was the biggest defeat he had ever faced. And right now, as I said, with just 5 minutes to go, this would be the worst loss in his tenure.
Remember, too, though, this South Carolina team has beat Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida. They're winning the games for the first time. This is a very good football team. Probably a step up from who they have played over the course of the season. Although the common denominator with Auburn, very close both ways.
South Carolina defeated the Gators, the Bulldogs, and Vols in the same season for the first time.
The game on the offense. That penalty is refused. 4th down.
Yeah, and the other SEC ACC matchup today, Florida State got the better of that Florida team. That's going in the wrong direction for Urban Meyer down there in Gainesville. But clearly tonight, the physical play, the speed, the playmaking offensively, Steve Spurrier showed why this team, for the first time, won an SEC East championship.
South Carolina elects to take the delay of game here.
Thank you.
Well, Clemson contained Marcus Latimer. They did a great job stopping the run. They just couldn't handle Stephen Garcia to Alshon Jeffery. And then really that kept the other things open.
And then they hurt themselves, as they've done all season. The block punt, the interception for a touchdown, just the self-inflicted errors, too much to overcome.
Lanning trying to kick it to the corner, and good special teams play by the Gamecocks, downing it inside the 5 again. 29 unanswered for South Carolina. 5:03 from closing it out. Let's take a look at our Chick-fil-A drive recap.
Well, it was one big drive.
the open scoring play for the Clemson Tigers. 45-yard touchdown on the opening possession. Parker to DeAndre Hopkins. That's it.
That 4 hours ago?
After that, 8 punts, 2 fumbles, and an interception. Long night.
So what was the difference?
Here we go.
you know, energy. They came out, threw the ball down the field, had a couple double moves, got the freshmen involved, but after that, they lost the ability to sustain themselves and get to manageable third down.
Boyd quarterbacking Clemson now. There's going to be a penalty flag. Looks like a little bit of a late hit after Hopkins makes the grab. Gilmore was there in coverage. So Tajh Boyd, the redshirt freshman from Hampton, Virginia, now quarterbacking the Tigers.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 5 on the defense. 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Remember, the first half of the season, Tajh Boyd and DeAndre Hopkins were second teamers, so they probably have some good chemistry, been throwing to each other all season long.
Hopkins, a true freshman. It was prior to the North Carolina game that the Clemson staff pointed to the 29-7 score. Boyd to the air, pass tipped. A big hit on Hopkins. Played by Holman.
You know, that was actually a great pass. That's that seam throw. You got to throw it over. We call it a goalpost throw, over the secondary, over the underneath coverage, and before the safety can get to it, just barely touched. But again, the type of throw that a veteran quarterback sometimes struggles to make.
Unanswered for South Carolina, trying to beat the Tigers in back-to-back years for the first time in 40 years. Under 5 minutes away, and this is a historic season. Brock, we touched on it with all the wins, the opportunity to get to 11. This will be just the third 9-win season for South Carolina. They won the SEC East Division title. South Carolina's been playing in the SEC since 1992. Their only outright title, 1969, the ACC title. So they'll play next week, Auburn, in the SEC championship game for the first SEC title, potentially, for the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Where were you in 1969?
Minus
my senior year in high school.
Yeah, minus something or other.
Oh, shoot.
That's going to be close to a first down here. We'll see. Boyd looks like he's shoved out probably short. We'll see. 1969, Paul Dietzel was the head coach of the South Carolina Gamecocks. He also penned their new fight song, "The Fighting Gamecocks Lead the Way." That's still the fight song for South Carolina. Or as they're known in the Palmetto State, just Carolina. Sometimes USC.
I'll tell you, it's a real credit to Steve Spurrier. He's done it at Duke. He obviously had the unprecedented run at Florida, and you can feel the sense of pride in talking to him. Everyone wondered about South Carolina. When would he turn the corner? When would they take that next step? Well, they've done it this year and have even more opportunities ahead next weekend in a battle in Atlanta.
The Palmetto State rivalry not just on the football field, big time in baseball. Last year, both teams in the College World Series. South Carolina beat Clemson in Game 12 of the College World Series, and they came back in Game 14. Remember, double elimination in Omaha. Gamecocks eliminate the rival Tigers and then go on to win the College World Series. Whit Merrifield with a historic hit for South Carolina, giving the Gamecocks their first baseball championship, first major championship in men's sports, and it was the last base hit, the last pitch, the last run batted in Rosenblatt Stadium history. Whit Merrifield and the Gamecocks winning last year in the College World Series after eliminating the Clemson Tigers. That's the message for the Gamecock fans. SEC championship game next Saturday against the Tigers of Auburn.
Well, it's been a year of firsts. First national championship with the baseball team. First time to have a 1,000-yard rusher, 1,000-yard passer. First SEC East championship. The way they played tonight, they've got a lot of momentum going into that game next weekend.
Devin Downey, the men's basketball team, beating number 1 ranked Kentucky. As well. Kenny Miles is now in at tailback for South Carolina, running it on 2nd and 9. BCS Countdown presented by Vizio ESPN tomorrow night at 8:15 Eastern. Where will TCU be? Where will Auburn be? Where will Boise State be after the loss against Nevada? Tigers have played an awful lot of close games this season, including against both of these opponents.
It's pretty incredible when you have Cam Newton, you're never out of a game.
That's exactly right, because he can beat you with his feet, or when he has to throw the ball, when you take away the run, he's a very accurate and sudden passer.
And running away with the Heisman Trophy.
Interesting you say that, Brock, because it occurred to me the other night watching Oregon blow out Arizona in what was supposed to be a big test for the Ducks. They're undefeated, ranked #1. They have run away from just about, other than the test at Cal, they've run away from everybody who was supposed to give them a test. And yet, I still don't think the Ducks are getting their due. I mean, I don't say that because we're standing next to Mike Bellotti. I say that because I'm not sure a lot of people know exactly how good this Oregon team is.
Well, and I thought you were leading into the Michael James actually in the Heisman, but because I agree, Cam Newton I think is running away with the Heisman, but I do think right now that possibly Oregon has a better defense than Auburn.
That's right.
And again, they're a different team, a different tempo that until you play it, I don't think you can be prepared for it.
It's a cumulative effort with the Ducks. It's their offense, it's their defense, it's their special teams, it's their playmakers, and I think that's what and why Cam Newton has run away, in my opinion, from Michael James.
There's another flag coming in at the close of this one. Give credit to both the Gamecocks and the Tigers for keeping this one mostly clean. We've only had 3 personal foul penalties, and that's saying a lot in a rivalry game such as this.
You know, you could say, going back to the Oregon-Auburn thing, you could say the development of Darren Thomas was much like the development of Cam Newton. It's been the difference in their seasons. They have good running backs, Michael James, good special teams, although I don't know if Auburn has a returner like Cliff Harris, who's so dangerous on the punt returns. But it'll be an interesting game if that is the one that eventually happens.
After the play was over, personal foul, number 80 on the receiving team. That penalty is 15 yards from the end of the run. First down.
Watch the late shot right there and the push to the back.
Yeah, and you want to make sure that the game doesn't deteriorate at this point. Play football, let that stuff go.
Off of Hopkins' hands. Chris Berman hosts ESPN's 2-hour pregame show with Tom Jackson, Keyshawn Johnson, Mike Ditka, Chris Carter, and NFL insiders Chris Mortensen and Adam Schefter's on the NFL Countdown presented by IBM. ESPN tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern.
Now, the NFL is going to have a hard act to follow with what college football has done over the last 2 days with the Boise game last night, with the Iron Bowl. It looks like Bedlam is coming into the second half. Just an amazing couple days of college football.
Alshon Jeffery, the big star here for the Clemson, or for the South Carolina Gamecocks, I should say. The 29 straight points against the Clemson Tigers. Jeffery, 5 catches, 141 yards, a touchdown. Catches of 39, 37, and 41 yards in the game for Alshon Jeffery.
And football at times, maybe not as much as basketball, can be a game of matchups. And tonight for Clemson, going to be a very difficult matchup against the speed of South Carolina and this 4-2 spur linebacker. They're just all over the place. Next week, Alshon Jeffery will be a tough matchup for Auburn. But I think this speedy, undersized group is going to have a tough time with Cam Newton in that run game as well.
Cam Newton is a very powerful running back. I mean, he's 235, 240 pounds, 6'6". He moves a pound, and he's not afraid to put his shoulder down. We got a big play coming right here.
Biggest run for Robert McDowell into South Carolina territory. Clock will temporarily stop to move the chains.
So who do you like next week, Coach? I know you're on the Expert Show on ESPNU Tuesday. I'm sure you'll get into this, but
you know what? I will say this, and I've said this all. I don't think you can pick against Auburn. I got to pick Auburn because of Cam Newton, because of what they've done. They've never panicked. They've been behind many times during the year, but they found a way to win.
TCU fans will be dressing in the garnet and black, rooting for South Carolina like crazy next week, hoping to get the upset of second-ranked Auburn. But tonight, 29 straight from South Carolina. After Clemson scored the opening touchdown, it's just the third 9-win season in South Carolina football history. The first time in 40 years that the Gamecocks have won back-to-back in the series with the Clemson Tigers. The battle for the Palmetto State goes to South Carolina. Up next on ESPN2, College Football Scoreboard, followed by the Las Vegas Invitational, Arizona versus Kansas. From Brock Hewitt and our entire crew, I'm Carter Blackburn. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now we send you to the studio and Windy Nicks.